is trying to be nice and polite. Jason Ohler comes up next. His title is, yes, a big star in this room. Title of his presentation, Digital Citizenship, the Future is Just Getting Started. His 6-word bio, the future is just getting started. Please welcome Jason.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Yes, I know you can. I call that the math hat. That actually exists. That control actually exists. Put that on your head, wear it, and you do 10% better on a math test. I'm not kidding you. I'll sell it to you for $50. Do you want one? And while you're wondering about whether you want one, maybe you don't want one, but do you want your kids to have one? Just park that question in the back of your mind for a moment and remind yourself that if all the other kids have them, do you want your child to be the one that's left behind? Now, I know it's ugly. We will hire Jonathan Ivey to go ahead and redesign that. He'll turn it into the next piece of must-have Apple bling, or if he's going to follow current trends in wearable technology, it's probably going to be invisible, or at least familiar. It'll look like a tiara or a baseball cap, who knows? Park that in the back of your mind, because that technology is here, right around the corner in terms of commercial production. And that's not the only thing you can put on your head these days. You can put stuff on your head that'll make you more creative, that will give you powers of telekinesis. It's really rather amazing. We will see news stories like Math Hat helps students pass standardized tests. Will the Common Core survive? That is a real news story that is right around the corner. Or parents sue district because of unfair Math Hat advantage. Just think about that. There is technology out there that if you have it, you're smarter, better, more able. Is that fair? Or in the private sector, employers require employees to wear thinking caps to boost productivity. Workers filed a civil rights suit claiming they have the right to live an unenhanced lifestyle. And the hats are just the tip of the iceberg. We'll have neural implants, they're already here, and it's just gonna go and go. It's only 2016, and the future really is just getting started. And wait till the bio-neural stuff gets here. Children sue parents for not providing genetic enhancement that would have made them more attractive, athletic, intelligent. That is a news story that I absolutely guarantee you is in our future, and not the very distant future. And what are we going to do about that? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and I could have brought up a number of different technologies, is that our current DigCit focus tends to be things like sexting, cyberbullying, stalking, secording, which is secretly recording, and I understand that. And it should be, and those issues are going to be with us, I think, probably in one form or another forever. So we should deal with those. But the reality is, if we take each technology as digital citizens on a case-by-case basis, we end up punch drunk. Here comes a new technology. Oh no, new behaviors. What are we going to do about those? We need something more foundational. And that foundation can be anything from character education to socio-emotional learning. It doesn't really matter. But at the foundation of digital citizenship is we want every kid to understand that every technology connects and disconnects. Every technology connects and disconnects. My eyeglasses connect me to the world. They disconnect me from the people I used to have to depend upon to get around. My cell phone, I'm texting with somebody 1,000 miles away while I ignore everybody in my immediate surroundings. Microwaves, great example. They have disconnected us from family dinner. We no longer need to have it. And a 5-year-old can take a piece of plastic and stick it in that box out of the refrigerator, stick it in that box, hit a couple of buttons, and produce a meal we can eat whenever we want, very individually. And a lot of these things happen, and we only see them in retrospect. So, the bottom line, well, you know, let's go back to the math hat. I just find this fascinating. I'll tell you what, I'll give it to you for free. But Nielsen and Google want to capture everything that's streaming in and out of it. And you're gonna say, are you kidding? You're gonna let Nielsen into my head? Well, they're not gonna identify you personally, but they are gonna offer you a $29.95 upgrade, because they will take that and using big data analytics, they will prescribe a path for you to become smarter, better, more socially aware, whatever it is you want. All of this is in your immediate future. Anyway, we're up against some neuro and abstract issues. We have pretty much established that the neocortex, which is the seat of ethical reasoning, is not fully developed until you're in your early 20s. We can't wait until we're 22 to make an ethical decision. Though we all have family members who haven't made one in their 50s and 60s. That's another issue. But we can't wait, and I'll tell you what my friends in neuro tell me. There is only one way to counteract that. Only one way, and that is practice. But we systematically exclude kids from being involved in setting digital citizenship policies, making those kinds of decisions, thinking about those kinds of things. Instead, we sort of hand them to them and say, follow these rules. And do they follow these rules? Of course they don't, okay? Imagine you're 13. Okay, everybody's there, you're 13, your parents just told you not to do something. Remember? Students need to practice ethical thinking. We need to give them the space and the help to do so. That's why my favorite activity with kids is You're in Charge. I've done it with thousands of kids. And I bring them to what I call the policy table, and I say, you know what? You're in charge. You're going to set all the policies for your school about cyberbullying, about math hats when they come in. What are those going to be? And as a matter of fact, if they don't frame the system, they game the system. I suppose that's sort of my bottom line here. If they don't frame the system, they game the system. We want them to frame the system. If I could change just one thing about how we approach digital citizenship, it would be kids come to the policy table. They are part of the conversation. They are part of the team that develops the rules. And I actually did this with the Sitka School District, and those are the digital citizenship guidelines developed by second graders up to seniors. And they're wonderful, and I'll tell you, they always come up with something I've never heard. I think I've heard it all. I've been in digital citizenship for 30 years. These people came up with no drama. We're sick of the drama online. That's great, that's great. One of them came up with, we need to help the bullier. Because if we think suspending their internet privileges is going to make them a nice person, we're just not getting this. It's just going to come out in some other form. So get that person some help. The bottom line is, our kids now live two lives at once. They live lives on the other end of their cell phone, and they live in RL. And how do you manage those two lives? And I know what you're going to say, or some people would say, probably not you guys. That's simple. We can just turn our cell phones off. But here's the thing. You're not going to. Ever, ever again. So as long as we know that, and we can be honest about that, it is all about managing their two lives at once. And to me, it really goes back to your digital footprint. And the way I handle this is, sure, I'll show them all the scary stuff about HR directors looking them up, and that's good. That's half of it. The other half is they actually create a positive e-portfolio very deliberately, and I take them through that process. And I have to sort of pull out of them all the cool stuff they do, because they're not trained to see a lot of the stuff that they do as really cool stuff. And at the end of that activity, they actually have an e-portfolio, and you look at that, and that will be pushed to the front of a Google search, and they're pretty cool people. Who's a digital citizen? Well, we want them to be safe, ethical, responsible, but we want them to be inspired and innovative and involved. We want them to be passionate, but we want them to be reflective. Yeah, I'm all about engagement. I'm also about disengagement. I want students to sort of stand back at that meta perspective, put it in the big picture. So let's have them be engaged and disengaged, informed, savvy. That's that sort of sixth sense. It's beyond smart, where you, and there are all sorts of ways to do this, where you can sort of sense where you are online by looking at the commercials and the language people use, trying to figure out what's going on. And we want them to have a positive presence in ePortfolio. If you want to know more, that's where you go, JasonOhlerIdeas.com. I'm back to the math app. Now I'll just give it to you. No one's going to stream anything in and out of your brain. I'm just going to give you one. Do you want it? Thanks for listening.
Yeah.